Hey everyone, it's Christine here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. We are going to talk about Mercury in retrograde in Gemini and then Taurus for May, June of 2022. This is take number 2. Mercury has already been affecting my life and I suspect it's been affecting many of yours already with its early pre-shadow period that probably started at the end of April, around April 25th. And will be extending into about a week or two into June. So most people have the idea when you think of Mercury retrograding that it goes backwards, but it really doesn't. When we say Mercury is retrograding, it simply means it's slowing down because it's usually a planet that goes faster around the sun than Earth, but this time it's slowing down when it does its transit around the sun. And so with this comes a lot of obstacles, with frustrations, with delays, and with a lot of think like miscommunications, mishaps, and many other forms of that nature. And because Mercury is the ruler of the communication, of travel, commerce, media, of our mental landscape, it's going to affect us in this area, and especially because it's starting out in Gemini, which is home to all of this communication. And I'm already feeling it because I'm having trouble even talking at this moment, and I'm an air sign. So it's going to later go into Taurus on May 22nd. And so it'll focus also on Taurus related themes, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So we have themes dealing with our money, our finances, prosperity, foundation, relationships, stability, material resources, investments, and the like. So we may experience setbacks in these areas. So we're looking at air elements and also earth. So it's going to be quite a ride, and it's going to require patience. I don't even want to get into, what you should do during Mercury retrograde, but very quickly, in terms of technology, I know this is going to be a very powerful one. I've already felt it. Have a lot of patience, use humor, and just back things up that are really important. If you're giving a presentation, for example, the best things or advice that I could offer you is to print things out. If your computer doesn't work, at least you have your notes in front of you, and just have a backup plan and simply go with the flow. We're going to dive in because I take a different approach when it comes to Mercury retrograde. A lot of people out there see it in a negative light, and I think your mindset has a lot to do with how you navigate this time period, because it's 3 weeks, give or take 1 or 2 weeks before, with the shadow periods. So it could be about anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how you view things, but and especially how you feel energies, because some people they don't seem to be affected, but I'm one of them that is affected. So, and I'm sure you are as well if you're watching this. So let's dive into the 5 tips on how you can make this an amazing time, because I think a Mercury, and why it is an amazing time, I should say, because the point of this video is to really highlight the positives of this retrograde. It's not just a period of obstacles and frustrations and delays and communications, but there's a lot of good things you can do. First, this is an amazing time to wrap up and complete things. Think of your to-do list. And I'm not talking about to the point of burnout, but think of all the things that you want to do, all the things you want to complete that you haven't. Maybe you need to buy a new light bulb, or you need to finish that long-standing book review, or you want to tie up loose ends and fix whatever things are lingering. This is an amazing time to use that energy, because the energies are literally helping you in this area of life, almost as I stall. I always feel it. I always feel like I'm in my own bubble during Mercury retrograde, and it's almost as if the earth and life stops for a little bit, even though it doesn't. We know it doesn't. But it's kind of like when the remote control, when you press pause, it feels like that. So this is a great time to catch up and get things done. Really use that energy to do that. Second, and I'm putting timestamps here, so that's why I'm pausing a little bit. Reflect. Mercury is really about the mind, like I said before, and about the mental landscape. So there's a lot of deep introspection that comes with this, a lot of analysis. And this time period really allows us to literally slow down and go with the energies of this retrograde and take a step back, especially since we are at the end of the retrograde. We'll be about 6 months in, half a year will be done gone, over with, of 2022. So it's a great time to assess this half point in our life in this year and be like, is where we're going, are we headed in the right direction? Are we going in the right way? What do we need to assess? Is there anything we need to redo, review, release? Essentially, get in touch with your goals, with yourself, and think about whether you are on the right road, on the right path right now. And you don't have to know, I'm not talking about these existential questions, but literally at this moment, does it feel like you are going in the right direction? Third, practice releasing and trusting. Mercury, when it goes retrograde, it's an amazing time to really set the intention to practice releasing, to practice surrendering, and to practice trusting more. Because so many things are out of our control, no matter what we do, even though I did mention in the beginning to have some backup plans. There's only so many backup plans we can have before things just get out of our hands. And sometimes that means surrendering and just going with the flow and doing things in the best way possible during that time. And this is a great way to practice it. I know it may not be opportune, but it really helps us. It taps into our resiliency, how we're able to bounce back and how we're able to move forward. I'm going to give you a quick example. I had a call with a friend last Friday before Mercury actually went retrograde. And wow, in the first 45 minutes or so, we experienced massive tech issues. We were on Zoom. That did not go well. On her end, she couldn't restart it. She had problems restarting her computer. We went onto Google Meet. That didn't work. Then we tried FaceTime since we both had iPhones. And then it just paused and froze and kicked us both out, like the call ended. And so we went back into Google Meet, or excuse me, back into Zoom. And then the audio went off for me. And so I called her from my phone and we were able to see each other, and it was just that type of energy. And instead of being frustrated and becoming reactive and angry, I just laughed with it and went with it. And I'm like, I'm gonna beat the universe at its game. I'm gonna beat Mercury. And we kept finding ways to connect. And it was such a fun time for us. Again, it's not gonna look the same for everyone, especially if you have maybe a work presentation and you want things to go well. Of course, you don't want tech snafus to happen. You want things to go seamless because that can affect your energy and how things proceed. But you can do things, like I said, to back things up, print out notes in this particular example, and whatever is in your control. But everything else, you just gotta let it go. After a while, when you just try so hard to control things, it doesn't work in your favor. And so Mercury retrograde is a really amazing time to practice this, and I'm sure we will get a ton of practice. Number 4, Mercury is also good at cleaning things out. This is a great time period to clean, to reorganize, and to release, especially physical possessions. And perhaps more so when Mercury gets into Taurus on the 22nd of May, but even with Gemini, release anything that's hampering on your mental landscape or your calendar or your technology. Maybe clean out your digital landscape, your computer, your cell phone, any other softwares that you use. What about your mind? Maybe it's a good time for you, especially since we have Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, work on any self-limiting beliefs surrounding these themes. Maybe communication, interpersonal relationships, boundaries, self-worth, core values, things like that. It's a really good time to literally clean this shit out and let it release when Mercury does go direct. And finally, number 5, self-care. Because of this, I would say, short-term instability that Mercury can create, it's like a havoc of sorts, chaos. It can leave us feeling not just frustrated, upset, and depleted, but also lacking the grounding, the stability that we need, especially within our inner landscape. So intuitively, I just heard self-care, self-care. This is a really great time to try something new in your self-care routine or amp up your self-care. Maybe devote, especially during this time period, I always suggest taking space for yourself, leaving your calendar open and not making too many plans. Of course, some things are out of our control and maybe you have to travel for work or you need to move somewhere, whatever happens, and you do your best around it, navigating that. But this is a great time to take care of yourself, because with a lot of changes and a lot of different forms of instability, it can really impact your body, your nervous system, and your psyche, because we do have this retrograde in an air sign and later an earth sign. It can really impact our entire being. So finding a way to ground yourself and reach some sort of inner harmony or semblance is going to be really important for this time. But these are amazing ways that Mercury retrograde can really highlight things that need to be cleaned out, highlighted, focused, and in general, how you can use this to really make a positive impact in your life. It's not always bad. If you switch it around, you can harness this in a good way. So I hope this video gave you some new perspectives or new ways of thinking when it comes to approaching Mercury going retrograde, and to realize that we have a lot more control than we realize. And so I am wishing you as much as possible, a peaceful and smooth retrograde period. Focus on what you can control, release the rest, and I hope everything goes as well as it can. I would love it if you could like, share, and subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you soon. Take care and have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.